Hey everyone, Matt here from Docs Run 8. Today we're going to do a full review of the Newton CF1 Carbon Racer. So this is Newton's first true super racing shoe featuring a forked carbon fiber plate and a brand new PIBA midsole for them called Newtonium P. It's a very interesting shoe. I've known about this for a little bit of time, never got to test it, but finally got to get it on my feet, and I've got 25 miles, and I want to give you some thoughts on what this shoe is and who it might work best for. So let's start off with specs first. Men's size 9, women's size 10.5, because this is unisex sizing, comes in at 8.5 ounces or 241 grams. The stack height is 34 on the heel, 30 in the forefoot for a 4mm drop, although it feels lower than that thanks to the ART or lugs that kind of make it feel like it's a bit lower. The midsole foam actually feels cushioned. Like really, when I first put this on, I went, oh, this is actually a cushioned Newton shoe. Most Newton shoes are more moderate to lower stack height. They definitely feel a little bit firmer with some of that kind of like transition quickness in the forefoot. This one has some bounce and tons of cushion underfoot. Not the tallest stack height shoe on the market, but definitely the tallest one from Newton, at least to my knowledge. So feels very cushioned in the heel, cushioned and rolling in the forefoot as you transition off the forefoot. If you like those Newton lugs, it's got the same feeling. The foam is interesting to me because, again, it doesn't feel like it responds as fast as a lot of other super shoes. It responds a little bit slower. I have tried to take this shoe on a variety of workouts. The thing that it's worked best for is actually easy runs as well as longer runs and up-tempo workouts. Whenever I try to really push the pace in the shoe, like shorter fartleks, faster tempo runs, it really struggles and the shoe doesn't respond fast enough. But as soon as you start looking at maybe a little bit above marathon pace, if you're just picking up the pace a little bit, or easier efforts, this shoe really does well. It locks into a pace well. It just can't accelerate super quick. So I think for a lot of people, maybe not the fastest runners out there, if you want a marathon shoe or even like, an ultra marathon shoe, one of Newton's athletes just won a 50K in it. I can totally see that happening. It feels comfortable for longer distance stuff when you're not necessarily going the fastest, which also makes it pretty good for a variety of things and not just stuck into doing faster efforts, so like a lot of super shoes. So more tailored toward easier efforts, more like up-tempo stuff, not the fastest shoe, but definitely comfortable for longer efforts and easier efforts as well. Transition, it's super stiff. There's not a lot of flexibility here. Fortunately, with the rocker here, it transitions you really nicely off the forefoot. As I said, the lugs are still prominent. It still makes you kind of want to land here, or if you land further back, makes you feel like it's almost a negative drop shoe, but not quite. So get ready. If your calves are not strong enough or you have limited ankle motion, you need to transition slowly into the shoe. If you like using your calves, if you land farther forward, you're probably going to do just fine in this shoe. So there's some bounce in here, but feels kind of a slower bounce, a little more comfortable, longer stuff. What I was really surprised about is the upper fit. A lot of Newtons tend to fit on the wider side, especially in the forefoot. This fits fairly snug. The toe box is fairly tapered. It feels more like a kind of more traditional racing shoe where fairly snug, maybe slightly more normal fit in the heel and in the midfoot, and then really tapers really quickly in the forefoot. So if you like a wide toe box, this shoe is probably not going to be the best option for you. But if you have a little more narrow forefoot and you want things to feel snug, it's going to feel really great. There is a stiffer heel counter back here. It does have some flexibility. So people that are sensitive to stiff heel counters, be aware there is some stiffness, but good security back here. And the laces, which are thin, but these things lock like nobody's business. Once you tie this down, if you do not have fingernails, which I have quite a bit of going on and some decent amount of anxiety, so I chew through most of my fingernails. These lock well, and it's really hard to get them off. So make sure that you got them the right way, and lucky you don't have to tie this too tight because it's already fairly snug. You don't have to worry about that too much, but just know that getting them off can sometimes be a little challenging, especially if your hands are cold or you're tired. So locks down really, really well. No security issues, just a little tapered in the forefoot for those that need to be aware of that. Stability wise, this is definitely a neutral shoe. The midfoot narrows quite a bit. I have definitely felt my Achilles get a little irritated with how much I am collapsing this shoe. There are sidewalls around here. The forefoot, as typical for Newtons, is fairly stable, and there are mild sidewalls up front. For those of you that need midfoot stability, this is not going to be the best option for you. Those with neutral mechanics, this is going to be just fine. The sidewalls are there, but the soft PIBA foam, you're going to roll right through that, and it won't bother you that much. So just know, much more of a neutral shoe. So as I'm saying, this is not the fastest shoe on the market. In fact, this is actually fairly heavy for a Newton shoe, which is interesting. For those longer distance races, maybe a marathon, maybe an ultra marathon for some people, for people that maybe can handle that tapered toe box, this is going to be a good option. For somebody looking for a 5K, 10K, even maybe half marathon, there's a lot faster shoes out there. Even within Newton's own line, they're going to be faster. So this is really a really cushioned, stiff Newton with the super foam that actually has been fairly durable. I've got 25 miles. There's no wear on here, so I'll keep getting miles in this. But this is very different. It's kind of the opposite of what you expect. I'd say Newton's normal trainers are actually faster. This one is more cushioned for longer stuff. We'll get a full review onto this with a couple of different testers. It's just an interesting shoe. I'm curious if any of you have tested this. Do you have similar sentiments to me? I'm a little confused on this, but I'm still excited that Newton is going this direction and making some attempts. There's some things that might need to get updated and progress forward, but Newton, hey, give it a shot. It's an interesting shoe. Let me know in the comments below if you've tried it and what you think about it.